As Monster Hunter World is now a completed game, all of the previously time-restricted events are now permanently available for you to do whenever you want. One of the things I've loved doing on this channel is creating lots of event roundups, highlighting some of the absolute best quests you should absolutely do. As these are scattered throughout the channel in lots of different individual roundups, I thought it would be super useful to have one master roundup video of all of the MR events I feel you definitely should go and do. This isn't going to contain all of them that were previously covered, so they're still going to be super useful, but it will give you a single video highlighting the ones that I think are absolute essentials. We'll take a look at events for gear, decos, armor spheres, and then useful items and money. Just before we hop in, I want to say thank you for really turning up and getting us to around 80% of unsubscribed viewers on the channel. With the majority of you returning, if you enjoy the videos, do subscribe. Let's get that down to 50%. And with that said, let's get to it. Up first, we've got the MR7 50 Shades of White event, pitting you up against a Barioth in the arena. This monster likes to leap all over the place and can be difficult to keep on top of. If you can focus out your attacks on the front two arms, breaking one of them or both will cause it to trip every time it leaps across with its attacks. This gives you huge windows to deal some damage and will also give you a lot of breathing space for the fight. Once you're done caking your pants 50 shades of brown, you'll be rewarded with some fest tickets. Take these over to the smithy to craft any of the 14 weapons as a Guild Palace weapon. A fantastic early Iceborne weapon choice, giving you decent raw, white sharpness, some affinity, a level 3 gem slot and a defense bonus as well. A super easy direct craft where you'll receive all the materials required from running the event. Easy peasy. Next is the MR9 event Every Hunter's Dream 3, pitting you against a Nightshade Paolumu and a Nagakuga inside the arena. Both of the monsters will be present at the same time, but what you can do is you can lock the Nagakuga behind the gates, allowing you to take down the Nightshade Paolumu first. If you can manage to bring 3 sleep resist through one means or another, either by a maxed out sleep resist charm or slotting some decorations, you'll make this fight so much simpler. You won't have to worry about falling asleep or dodging into a cleanser booster. You can just wail away at the monster and take it down. Watch out for Nagakuga's bleeds, especially its big tail slams. They can be crazy damage and very dangerous. It does move around quite quickly, but there are plenty of openings to get a lot of damage out on the head and body. Once you're done bleeding out in your sleep, you'll be rewarded with some Black Eagle blueprints. Head over to the smithy and you can craft yourself the fantastic Black Eagle Charge Blade, a wonderful weapon with some of the best aesthetics in the game. Unfortunately very low raw, some purple sharpness, affinity, thunder elemental, and 2 level 1 gem slots. This can be quite easily upgraded to help improve its raw, give it a phenomenal amount of purple sharpness, and a small bit extra of thunder elemental. However, the raw is still pretty low, not gonna lie, but god damn, this weapon is sexy. And you can always use it as a layered weapon as well. These are also used for the Wyvern Ignition Greatsword upgrades, but I'm not really going to go into those because you have to start those off from high rank, and we're just looking at MR quests this time around. Up next is the MR18 USJ Shine On Forever event, pitting you against a Velkhana in Celiana supply cache. Feel free to make use of the roaming ballista, the dragon razor, and even the cannons if you want, focusing out damage on the head to try and get as many topples and stuns as possible, giving you the damage windows you need to secure your victory against this icy elder dragon. Once you're done freezing your palicos off, you'll be rewarded with Azure Era seals. Take this over to the smithy and you can craft yourself the Azure Era Soaring Dragon bow, a fantastic choice with a huge amount of affinity, solid water elemental, and a level 4 gem slot. A wonderful choice that can be further upgraded for a little bit more raw damage, a ton more water elemental, and an additional level 4 gem slot. Just an all-round fantastic choice. You can also use these to craft the wonderful Azure Starlord layered armor set. Just be mindful this shows up in low/high rank, not in the master rank. Up next is the MR18 event USJ Ballet of Frost, pitting you against a Frostfang Barioth in Hoarfrost Reach. Start at Central Camp 7 as its layer's just round the corner, and be mindful that this variant of Barriath does use ice attacks quite a bit more. Some people find it preferable to the regular Barriath as it doesn't leap about as much, but I find the ice attacks to be a lot more dangerous. Same strategy goes here, focus your attacks on the front two arms. Once you get a break, it will trip every time it leaps. These give you additional damage windows to focus out on the head, with each head break lowering the efficacy of its ice attacks, and giving you additional topples when you do secure those part breaks. Once you're done facing the Wrath of Elsa, you'll be rewarded with large Azure era gems. Take this over to the smithy and you can craft yourself the phenomenal Azure Age Alpha Plus armor set. This is a really powerful armor set with great defense, elemental resistances, and fantastic abilities too, including the Silver Rathalos true critical element. This is the sort of set that will see you through until you reach the upper echelons for armor. Plus you look like a sick ass samurai too. Next we've got the MR20 event, A Chilling Entrance, pitting you against a Black Veil Valhazak and a Velkhana in Ancient Forest. You'll face off against the Black Veil Valhazak first before the Velkhana shows up shortly after. Do ensure that you take 3 miasma resist in some way, shape or form. Having that 3 effluvia resist is going to make a massive difference. You're not going to suddenly have your HP cut in half, so you can really focus on the fight. Make sure you damage the spore sacs whenever they're bulging to prevent it from doing its supernova attack, and otherwise focus out your damage on the head and front legs when you can. Once you've dealt with Zombie Dragon, Velkhana will show up shortly after. Focus out your damage on the head. It's very vulnerable to blunt damage, you can get a ton of KOs with hammer, and bonk until the monster is no more. Once you're done disrespecting these elders, you'll be rewarded with some sealed dragon cloths. Head over to the smithy to craft yourself the sealed dragon cloth Alpha Plus armor. This is a phenomenal head armor with some of the best aesthetics in the game, offering you not as great defense as we'd hope, but pretty reasonable elemental resistances and 2 level 4 gem slots. A genuinely fantastic piece of headgear, and a valuable addition to your Mikasa cosplays. Next we've got the MR24 event, The Last White Knight, pitting you against a Frostfang Barriath in Hoarfrost Reach. Again, start in Central Camp 7 as its layer is just round the corner. As this is Frostfang Barriath, you're going to expect a lot more ice breath attacks that will stick you in place. Bear in mind this is a tempered version of it as well, so more HP, more damage, just a bit more dangerous. As always with Barriath, focus out your attention on the front 2 arms. If you can get any breaks, it'll trip when it leaps around, and then focus out your damage on the head for the part breaks to give you those additional damage windows to finish off the job. After you're done taking down the tier 3 sub-simps, you'll be rewarded with your Frostfang tickets. Head over to the smithy and you can craft any of the 14 Frostfang Barriath weapons. A direct craft with all of the materials obtained from running that one event alone, giving you great raw, some purple sharpness, affinity, and a tremendous amount of ice elemental damage. A very accessible choice to get yourself Alatreon ready, as well as being a fantastic weapon in its own right. Plus the designs look absolutely killer. You can also craft yourself the full Frostfang armor set. A great choice with good defenses, gem slots, and skills, whether you go for the beta or the alpha set. Next is the MR24 event, Monkey Business, pitting you against a furious Rajang in Hoarfrost Reach. You tend to find this Super Saiyan ape lurking around the hot springs, or sometimes at the top of the map as well. A very deadly opponent with a relentless barrage of attacks, but it does also give you big damage windows after its attacks too. The Mouth Kamehameha, the Ground 5 Lightning Slam, and the Jumping Electro Ball Spew all have big damage windows where you can get in and get a few hits off. It will take some practice, and this is absolutely one of the hardest monsters in the game, so don't worry if it's a bit of a struggle. Once you're done sympathizing with Frieza, you'll be rewarded with a load of Furious Rajang parts. Don't worry about the tickets, that's for the golden macaque headpiece. We're interested in the actual monster parts here. Head over to the smithy and you can craft some of the best weapons in the game. This is absolutely one of the breakthrough weapons, I call them, where you'll be moving into another tier, another stage of weapons. Phenomenal raw, purple sharpness, good affinity, and a chunk of thunder elemental. Available for all 14 weapons, they're all sick and they look incredible too. Similarly, the Furious Rajang armor is absolutely fantastic, boasting some great skills, with generous decoration slots too. A fantastic choice with tons of maximum might. Up next is the MR24 optional quest, Achy Breaky Heart, pitting you against a raging Brachydios in the Guiding Lands. This sucker hits hard and will punch the shit out of you as well. Do try your best to come come in with 3 blast resist, which will just make the fight a lot easier for you, giving you full immunity to Blast Blight and Blast Scourge Blight as well, allowing you to just focus on the fight. This won't stop you getting blasted by the slime that's left on the floor. You just won't get blighted. Whenever any of its parts are glowing red, that means the slime that will be placed is Flashpoint Slime, instantly exploding, and I believe does some more damage as well. It's very dangerous. Dealing damage against these red glowing parts or firing puddle pods at them will knock the Flashpoint Slime off, causing a small explosion, and also returning its attacks to its regular slime, giving you a lot more time to respond. Breaking any parts will prevent the monster from applying Flashpoint Slime for the rest of the fight. Smash the hands, smash the head, use traps to give you additional damage windows too, and bonk it to death. Once you're done getting slime bukaki'd in the face, you'll be rewarded with your Raging Brachydios monster parts. Head over to the smithy and craft any of the 14 weapons, for which you'll need one of the very rare drop and Immortal Reactor. All of these are obtained from the optional, and it's a direct craft weapon, giving you some of the highest raw damage weapons in the game, with purple sharpness, a chunk of blast elemental, and a level 4 and level 3 gem slot. This is likely to be your second best weapon in the game, outside of getting Safi weapons and awakening them, etc. Definitely considered as breakthrough equipment. The armor sets are absolutely wild as well, boasting tons of agitator and other really useful skills too. Definitely worth building. Next is the MR24, the Evening Star or Dawn of the Death Star, depending on which one you've got on rotation, pitting you against Alatreon in the Secluded Valley. One of the toughest but most fun fights in the game that requires you to think about your elemental damage quite a bit. By not meeting the elemental damage check, you will be instantly wiped out, so you do need to be quite focused with it. Against your Fire Start Alatreon, take your Frostfang Barrier weapons or any other ice weapons of your choice, and focus out your attacks on the head and front legs where possible. Once you get the topple, you will know that you've hit the elemental damage threshold and that you're good to go. Once it goes into its dragon mode, you'll then need to focus out all of your attacks on the head to try your best to get the horn breaks to lock it into fire mode. A really handy way to do this is to get the wall bang or knock it down from the sky if it's flying to near enough instantly get your full horn break. If it didn't quite take it over the edge, a few bops to the head will do the trick. Once you're done taking down the avatar of monsters, you'll be rewarded with your Alatreon monster parts. Take these over to the smithy and craft yourself any of the 14 weapons as an Alatreon weapon. Once they've been fully upgraded is where they really shine. A decent amount of raw, big chunk of purple sharpness, tremendous amount of dragon elemental with low elder seal, and 2 level 2 gem slots. A great all-round weapon, fantastic for elemental builds. I would take the dual blades during the Safi sieges and unload a world of pain on it. The armor set is absolutely phenomenal with great defense, elemental resistances, good decoration slots, and wonderful skills as well. A nice mix of offense and defense, and some pretty neat elemental set bonuses which can increase your attack and increase your overall defense too. Next is MR100 event, the place where winter sleeps, pitting you against an arch-tempered Velkhana in Elder's Recess. This is an incredibly hard fight, possibly the hardest in the game, at least alongside Fatalis. You're going to want to come in with the absolute best gear that you've got prior to this. I would highly recommend being kitted out in Fatalis armor and weapons, which I didn't mention previously because it's kind of the ultimate gear in the game, so I don't really see the point of covering it. It's not like a, hey, this event is something you don't want to skip, like everyone knows about Fatalis, like get it done. ATV hits super hard and you'll find it tough to find your openings to be able to deal damage. There are certain windows during and after its attacks where you can dish out a bunch of hits. This is going to take some practice, and I've got a full video going over how you can take down ATV. There is no easy way, it's going to take practice and you're going to have to learn to read the fight. You've got 30 minutes, the monster has a ton of HP, so you're going to really need to be aggressive whilst also being mindful of getting one shot. Once you're done frosting your pants, you'll be rewarded with Velkhana tickets. Take these over to the smithy to craft yourself the Velkhana Gamma Plus armor set. This is like a super version of the previous Velkhana gear, with better defense, better decoration slots, incredible skills on them as well, and of course critical element and the extremely powerful Frostcraft. some of the ultimate gear in the game which highly rewards an aggressive playstyle. That's a wrap on the gear section, onto our decoration farming events. First up, we've got the MR3 event Flora Frostbite, asking you to deliver 10 ice blooms from Hoarfrost Reach. Starting off from Camp 7 or Camp 15, either's good. Take your gathering loadout with botanist and geologist and all the rest, gathering at the plentiful ice bloom nodes nearby. This will take you absolutely no time at all, and if you want to repeat it quickly, select your return destination back to camp instead, starting up the quest quicker and easier, cutting down your time back in town. Once you're done turning your green thumbs blue from Frostbite, you'll be rewarded between 1 and 5 ancient face stones, appraising immediately into low tier decorations, a fantastic way to really stock up and fill any blanks with your low rarity decorations. Next is MR24 event The Wrath of Thunder Descends, pitting you against a tempered Zinogre in Ancient Forest. Regular Zinogre is challenging as is, and a tempered one hits harder with more HP. It probably has some additional unique tempered attacks as well. I find Lance to be a really nice matchup against this monster, but of course take whatever you feel good with, focusing your damage on the head and trying to get as many part breaks as possible, maybe utilizing any ledges nearby to get off mounts, maximizing those topples and wall bangs so you can secure the victory. Once you're done getting zapped and clapped, you'll be rewarded with 2 guaranteed sealed face stones and a bunch of other ones as well. The 2 sealed can give you the highest rarity decorations in the game. You can get more, but the 2 are guaranteed. This is likely to be your best decorations farm for quite some time. The reason being the next event. After hitting MR100, you're able to run the Day of Ruin event, pitting you against a tempered Teostra in Celiana supply cache. Quite a steep MR gap between a Wrath of Thunder Descends at MR24 and Day of Ruin at MR100. Teostra, being an Elder Dragon, is tricky at the best of times. This is a tempered Teostra, which is even more deadly, giving it more HP, more damage, and access to some unique tempered attacks which are really devastating. You're likely going to be farming this quest a lot and you'll probably get quite comfortable with it, but do not take this monster lightly. It really is a very dangerous foe. If you can fit Heat Guard into your build somewhere, that will help make things quite a bit easier. Focus out your damage on the head, feel free to make use of the roaming ballista, the cannons, and of course the Dragon Razor as well. And there's always loads of people happy to farm this, so do feel free to fire off an SOS flare. It should fill out pretty fast. Once you're done reliving your Mufasa trauma, you'll be rewarded with 3 guaranteed sealed face stones, with the chance to get up to another 4. So this is a fantastic quest to use your lucky vouchers on. Once more, these give you access to the best decorations in the game. Farming this event should really bolster your armory, increasing your OPness massively, and helping you to create your dream build. Next is one of my absolute favorites, the MR100 event Mew R number 1, pitting you against a tempered Furious Rajang in the arena. This is one of the toughest fights in the game, so you're going to want to make sure you are completely geared out. Top echelon armor with augmentation so that you've increased your defense cap, fully upgrading them to the maximum. This is another one of those fights like ATV where you're just going to have to really learn to get good at Furious Rajang. This monster is absolutely relentless and a tempered version is going to really put pressure on you. You will find openings after its attacks where you can smack it on the head after its Kamehameha mouth beam, the 5 lightning strikes hit against the ground, and the jumping electro balls from its mouth, to name just a few of the attacks. It's going to take time, it's going to take practice, but you'll get there. After sympathizing even more with Frieza, you'll be richly rewarded with astral melding tickets, a chance for sealed face stones, and spirit vein gems too, not to mention the 210k Zenny reward as well. A phenomenal quest for you to use your lucky vouchers on, helping you to walk away with more than 1 astral melding ticket for your time, hopefully something like 5. These are absolutely fantastic because they can be melded for guaranteed rarity 11 decos. Not 10, not 12, guaranteed 11. Whilst locking you out of some of the most powerful rarity 12 decos, you have a smaller pool of very strong rarity 11 decorations to pull from, including fantastic combinations like critical protection, tenderizer medicine, hard elemental resistances. Just an incredible way to really inject powerful decorations into your armory and loadouts, allowing you to have even better, stronger build diversity. On to events for armor spheres. First, we've got the MR6 event Balloon Fight, pitting you against a Paolumu and Nightshade Paolumu in the special arena. This is one I don't necessarily really recommend as there are much better options later, but if you're desperate, it's an option to consider. You'll be facing off against both of them at the same time, and it's imperative that you bring 3 sleep resist in one way, shape or form. This means you don't need to worry about constantly running backwards and forwards into a cleanser booster, or just avoiding the Nightshade Paolumu's attacks at all. Speaking of, Nightshade will send the regular one asleep, constantly using its attacks. You can really take advantage of that and for the most part just have one to face off against at a time. After you've given these beavers a rude awakening, you'll be rewarded with hard armor spheres and a chance for some heavy ones. Not the best, but if you're desperate in low MR, it will suffice. Next is MR19 event Talk About a Party Foul, pitting you against a seething basil geese in the special arena. This one has considerably better rewards than Balloon Fight and is absolutely worth your time. Seething Baz has some very dangerous purple bombs. Make sure you watch out for those, and do feel free to utilize the special arena's tools, in particular the falling boulders and of course the Dragonator once it's ready to use. Once you're done getting blown to smithereens, you'll be rewarded with a bunch of heavy armor spheres, with the chance to get some king ones. This one's actually very much so worth your time. Heavy armor spheres are pretty good. This is exponentially better than Balloon Fight, which is why I say only run that if you're really desperate. Next is the MR24 event Brand New Brute, pitting you against a Brute Tigrex in the arena. This is one of those quests where the monster drops shinies that you've got to pick up, and in this case, these shinies are actually armor spheres. By going out of your way to get part breaks, get wall bangs as well, you'll have lots of shinies to pick up throughout the fight. I find Lance to be a very good matchup for this fight. Maybe it's something that you can consider as well. Whatever you go for, you'll be dealing with relentless attacks from this thing. Once you're done with your flashbacks to your teenage years, shouting the goddamn house down, at least I was, you'll be rewarded with true armor spheres, king armor spheres, heavy ones too. The more part breaks you get, the tail cut, the wall bangs, these will all help you get more armor spheres as well, as you can actually pick up true and king armor spheres from the shiny drops as well. Out of all of them, this is the most bang for your buck. It's the definitive event to do for armor spheres. You're going to get tons of upgrades running this. Our last category is a sort of miscellaneous, useful items, good money sort of events. Jumping into the MR2 event, A Fish to Whet Your Appetite, asking you to deliver 2 great wet fish from Wildspire Waste. You'll find one in the pond at Central Camp 6, and the other one in the body of water above Southwest Camp 1. Use your fishing rod, use your capture net, just grab the great wet fish and you'll be done in no time. Once you're done baiting fellow hunters into fishing scams, you'll be rewarded with wet fish fin pluses. I believe you should get some for actually catching the great wet fish too. What these do is they allow you to fully sharpen your weapon in one cycle, with only a 10% chance of them actually getting used up. You should have a couple of these in every item loadout. Next is MR6 event Powerlumu Lullabies, pitting you against a Nightshade Powerlumu in the arena. This event nets you 81k Zenny, so it's a fantastic way to farm up money. I'd highly recommend that you do it solo if you are in need of the cash, and if you don't have a better use for them, a lucky voucher will let you double up. You'll notice this Nightshade Powerlumu is absolutely tiny, but it absolutely packs a wallop. It's kind of like the moss whining and dining event, you know, those giant moss wine that instantly one-shot you. This thing can really destroy you, so absolutely come in with 3 sleep resist. Given it's so tiny, you should be able to keep your damage uptime really high. Once you're done battling the Great EP, the Honk Shoe, the Honk Me, you'll be rewarded with a good variety of stuff, including a bunch of armor spheres, potentially some eggs to sell, and of course your 81k Zenny pay packet. Great to run if you need some money in a pinch. Next is quite possibly the single most useful event you can do, the MR24 event A Farewell to Zinogre, pitting you against a Zinogre in the arena. You've probably been watching the other categories, the other events, and screaming this one at the screen, I didn't forget about it. There's a 50-50 chance of it being a really big Zinogre or a really small one. Similarly to the Brand New Brute event, there's going to be shinies dropping from this monster, which will be Steamworks fuel that you need to pick up. Your part breaks and wall bangs are going to be invaluable for getting more shinies. Try and get a tail cut too. I thoroughly enjoy Hammer for this fight, and I also find Lance to be a good matchup as well. Once you're done smashing this fool for fuel, you'll be rewarded with a bunch of Dragon Vein coals. You do actually get Zinogre parts and even a Zinogre ticket for running this one, but we're interested in the coals. Each run will net you around somewhere between 6 to 9k fuel, which can be enough if you're lucky to go from 0 to full overdrive. If you're able to run this event, you're at the stage where you can convert your Steamworks to run it times 10, using 100 fuel a go and giving you times 10 the rewards each time. You will get an absolute ton of armor spheres, including heavy and king, lots of useful items like Dust of Life, max potions, gourmet vouchers, celestial Wyverian prints, silver eggs for money, Steam tickets to trade in for mega demon drugs and mega armor skins. It is just the one event to rule them all. Finally is one of my absolute favorite events to run. Typically basically as a warm-up when I've just started up the game, is the MR100 event Ode to the Destruction, pitting you against a tempered Ruin and Gigante in the Origin Isle. Something about this fight just feels so good, it feels so fun. I think it's a really nice balance of challenge whilst also allowing you to crack on. Don't take tempered Ruin and Gigante lightly, it will turn the tables on you really fast, especially when it's enraged. The spikes it shoots out will put bleed on you, which can put you in a bit of a tricky situation. Otherwise, keeping on top of your tenderizing to help negate the hardened spikes should ensure you've got a pretty smooth battle. Once you're finished cosplaying as a voodoo doll, you'll be rewarded with a variety of spirit vein gems, hopefully plenty of the great ones. These are going to come in handy for your master rank augmentation. It's also a good way to get shadow core ores, a very handy late game material. Now you have your definitive collection of essential MR events you absolutely must do. Are there any I've missed that you think deserve to be in this list? Which ones do you already do? Let me know in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. As mentioned at the start, you folks have really showed up and got us to around 80% of unsubscribed viewers. With the majority of you returning, if you enjoy the videos, do subscribe. Let's get that down to 50%. The Discord server is open to all of you, so if you want folks to hunt with, or to get hyped for Monster Hunter Wilds with, jump on in, we'd love to have you there. I also do open lobbies during the Twitch live streams, and I'd love to get some hunts in with you. I'll put all these links in the description. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you in the new world.